Hi, hello everyone. This is Harini Yen. I'm currently pursuing my BTech ISDO final year in Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute. I'm here to present some knowledge about data migration. I guess everyone would be quite familiar with the term data migration as we come across cloud technologies and using their cloud subscription in our day-to-day life. Data migration. Data migration is moving a data from one location to another, basically introducing a new system or location for the data. So data migration is all about three steps, which is extract, transfer and load. Extracting the data from the data source, transferring the extracted data to the desired destination and loading those data to new storage space or environment. So these migrations is done through either online transfer or offline transfer. So offline transfer are grouped into two. So based on the customer aspires to transfer. So the first one will be a customer owned devices and the second will be a provider owned devices. The customer owned devices. The consumers who has a very considerable amount of internet speed or with no network will opt for this. Client stores the data in USB or hard drive will be transported to the cloud provider's location in order to upload those data to the desired cloud. The only constraint in this customer owned device will be they cannot handle data more than 10 TB. The second comes the provider owned device. What if the consumer needs a large amount of data? So the provider owned device will be the only solution. Here the provider sends the potential container to store the data and then the consumer sends back the storage container with all the data fed into them to their provider's destination. Later the cloud provider will feed the data to the respected cloud. Okay, and finally, if you're not really looking for offline transfer, you want to transfer the data with a high-speed technology, then one can opt online transfer, which is over the network. Here, we can spin up the high-speed transfer client at your location and connect it to the cloud providers. So with high-speed clusters, server clusters, so here a consumer with a high speed of internet can connect through this online transfer. So next we can discuss about the type of data migrations. So there are several data migration types like storage migration, cloud migration, and application migration. Storage migrations. So storage migration involves moving a physical block of data from one type of hardware to another as a previous storage is insufficient to adapt to the modern technology or they are outdated to be simply. Okay, next comes the cloud migrations. So data or any other business is transferred either on-premises data center to a cloud or from one cloud to another. Next comes the application migration. When an application vendors need to change, it will result in need for a substantial transformation since almost every application operates on a specific data model. This may include moving the entire application from an on-premises IT cloud to a cloud or moving between clouds. Okay, so here comes the data migration planning process. Data migration is a complex procedure which can be successful with a substantial planning strategy. So there are 4 phases in this planning process. The first comes the pre-migration plans. In this phase, the stability of the data being moved is evaluated. Once after this pre-migration plan is executed, the project initiation will be automatic. The next phase, which is a second nominal phase, where a robust data quality rules are created and managed simultaneously. The third phase, known as solution and design. In this phase, the type of data to be moved in their quality will be determined. And also, the code for migration logic will be built and tested here. Last but not the least is execute and validate in the final phase. Validates in this phase, the migrated data is validated, and also it initiates a shutdown and dispose of old systems. Okay, so these are the planning process of data migration, and next we'll see about the steps for successful data migration. So we have quite substantially planned our planning process, but it is not enough. There are much more steps to be followed for a data migration to be successful. They are, the first one, developing strategies that solidify objectives, which we have done in a previous slide. We have planned, we have created a strategy. The next comes identifying the authenticated data source, which is very important in case of data migrations or any other security purposes. So next comes the assessment and analysis of the content. Yes, how we can find whether the data is authenticated is only through assessment and analysis. By proper assessment and analyzing the documents and data, we can find out whether the data source is authenticated or not. Then duplicate records. Duplicating records or taking backups are the next major purpose that can solve any misappropriation inside data migration process. Data mapping. Yes, classifying, extracting and categorizing the content, which is to be in a simple words, it will be like indexing. Yes, indexing actually maps the data, so we can exactly point out which data is stored in which container. Then next phase comes transferring and exportation. Yes, transferring the backup and loaded data to the desired cloud is also very important. Last, the final stage is decommissioning and disposing of old system, which is very important because once the data is fed to the cloud, desired cloud, the data stored in storage devices should not be left alone because the data can be used. Misappropriation can be done in that, which is very lethal. So either the cloud provider tries to return the storage devices to the clients, or they can decide to dispose the storage devices by themselves. So thank you everyone for spending your valuable time